The USDA releases an egg market news report every week. We have a link for you at sunup.okstate.edu. And with all this talk of egg prices, more people are considering backyard chickens. Here's Dana Zook with some tips on getting started.
Really, we're going to come up on spring here in the next couple months, and springtime is time when a lot of people get into backyard chickens. If you've had them before, maybe gotten out of it, it's a time when people buy chicks. There is a lot of chicks available this time of year. The one thing we wanted to bring to light is maybe to think about a few things before you jump into kind of a backyard chicken adventure. The first thing to think about is actually to evaluate whether you can have chickens or not where you live. If you live in a rural area, it's probably not a question. You can probably have them. But if you live in an urban setting, such as in town or kind of on an acreage type situation, you might have an ordinance that may limit you for the number of birds you can have or the type of birds. A lot of times, for instance, maybe you can only have 4 or 5 hens, or for instance, your city ordinance doesn't allow roosters because of the noise and that sort of thing. The next thing that's important is housing. Evaluate what sort of housing you would need. Of course, you need to base the house on size based on the number of birds you can have. Typically, we recommend about 2 square feet for a small breed. For larger breed chickens, we recommend about 4 square feet in the coop. If you're in an urban setting, you will need to keep them confined. You will need a run for those chickens. So basically double that size for chickens in the run as well, because they need some space to move around. But if you have chicks, definitely housing includes the brooder. You need a transition from the brooder to the house. So if you got the housing figured out, think about the equipment. You need a feeder, water, such as what we see here. In this coop behind me, there's feeding and watering situations, and this is a pretty elaborate coop, and you don't need something necessarily like this, but a good structure is important. If you're gonna obtain your chicks through the mail, look for a hatchery that's NPIP certified. It monitors diseases, lots of types of diseases in the poultry industry, and more specifically, avian influenza right now. So it's important to keep a biosecure kind of location for your birds. It's exciting to have them and you want to share them with everybody, but we want to make sure that we're keeping those birds safe, but we also want to keep the people safe. So children, the elderly, and anyone who has really not come in contact with salmonella and other diseases that poultry can carry, we want to make sure that we use cleanliness and those types of things to keep people safe when they're handling or when they're around our birds. It's important to be aware that predation can be an issue even with backyard chickens. The thing to be aware of is to make sure that you keep your the area clean around your operation so that there's no hiding places for lots of predators. So skunks, raccoons, a variety of things. Don't give them the opportunity to get at your birds. Make sure your structure is sound. Your fencing is buried under the ground so that their critters can't dig under and get your chickens. So just keep a sound and safe structure for your birds to prevent any sort of predation.